Hi, I'm Karen Meyer. I'm the lead administrator of Wet Canvas, an artist forum that's part of the F&W community. I'm here today in Reno, Nevada at the NAMTA convention with Jennifer Von Stein, the resident artist of Chroma, and she's going to be demonstrating how to use the interactive acrylic line. Jennifer, tell me a little bit about Chroma and this new product.
Sure. Chroma is an Australian-based fine arts manufacturer, and they've been around for over 40 years. Now, since the 60s, we've been making fine arts products, and our newest products that we have out is our interactive professional artist acrylic, and it's pretty revolutionary. What I'm doing is that I'm using interactive to work on this landscape here, and I started this yesterday. And what makes interactive so unique is that it doesn't form that immediate skin when it dries. So artists have the ability to rehydrate their paint just by using some water, and they can actually continue to work wet on wet and blend. It's a patent pending formula, it's the original paint, and it's very, very cool. With conventional old style acrylics, you can do all these great fast painting techniques, and you can still do this with interactive. But interactive is the only paint that you can still do the fast painting techniques as well as do slow painting techniques and blending at the same time.
And just with water?
Just using some water. For example, right here I've been just adding my clouds and kind of working on my sky, and what I know what to do is when I feel my brush start to drag, all I need to do, and I want to work wet and wet, is just use my water sprayer. Just spray a little bit, make it wet again, and now I'm able to actually continue blending as opposed to simply overpainting. And I can do this using water in a normal painting session for about the first 3 to 4 hours just with using water. We know how difficult plein air painting used to be with old style acrylics. With interactive, plein air painting becomes a lot more enjoyable, and it really is fun. So with this piece, for example, I started this piece yesterday. And so what I did first, working on a pre-primed canvas, is that I wanted to prepare my surface properly.
Sure.
So the medium that I used our binder medium. And the binder medium works great on paper, on canvas, on panel, and it helps to provide better paint adhesion as well as to prevent the loss of moisture through the substrate. And you know how important preparing a canvas is.
Definitely. And you have a gesso to use as well?
Exactly. The binder provides a nice smooth tooth, but sometimes if I want more tooth on my piece, I'll just use a good quality gesso such as our Chroma gesso.
And then it seems like you can go from there laying in this color line, and there's so many colors to choose from in this line.
Exactly. Interactive has a great line. It has over 75 colors and all professional, from single pigment to multiple pigment. So my next stage, once my binder was dry, is that I wanted to lay down my major masses. And what I used was our fast medium fixer, and this helped interactive make it work more a little bit like a conventional acrylic, so that I was able to put down my painting, my masses pretty quickly, and I was able to get my painting to a point where I was able to call it quits for the night. And so today I'm refining my shapes, and I'm just working more wet on wet, and like I showed you, just by using some water and working in here. The key is to know that when you feel your paint get tacky, that's when you just want to use some water, and then if I want to add just a little bit more paint in here, instead of just overpainting, you can see how it actually just lets me blend.
Sure.
Now we also have some mediums that really help enhance this painting experience and help give interactive even more open time. Again, great for plein air, people that like to work large or on paper.
Right.
And those mediums are our slow mediums. Our liquid slow medium is wonderful to cut the viscosity of the paint for when you want a more fluid acrylic. Interactive, straight out of the tube, is very buttery and it has a wonderfully creamy consistency. But sometimes maybe you want a little bit more fluid paint. You're going to be painting in some layers like I'm going to be doing right now. All I need to do is just open up my jar, and I just want to add just enough to get the effect that I'm looking for.
Sure.
Just enough to kind of thin it out, mix it up a little bit. Some artists like to use the slow mediums to help them achieve really, really subtle gradations, and some even not only just apply it to their paint, but they're also apply it to their surface as well. We also have another slow medium which gives more open time to the paint.
Okay.
And that's our thick slow medium. The thick slow medium has more of a gel-like consistency, so it's great for when you want a more impasto paint, kind of keep the paint at its same consistency, but you still want to have nice open time working with the paint.
Sure. And how do you achieve glazing techniques in that?
For glazing techniques, I would recommend two mediums. I would use either our fast medium fixer or I would use our liquid slow medium. It's important to remember that if you choose to use the fast medium fixer, that this will make interactive act more like a conventional acrylic. You won't be able to reopen your paint with water like I was doing earlier. So that's why I personally prefer to use the regular liquid slow medium. So I have more time to adjust my glazes and kind of work with it and kind of fuss with it. But you know, this brings up an important point, which is using isolation coats.
Right. Tell me more about isolation coats and how that applies to this painting style.
Sure. With conventional old style acrylics, artists don't really need to use isolation coats because they're just applying layer upon layer and layer of paint because the conventional acrylics dry with that hard shell almost immediately. With interactive, this paint was designed so that you could blend, so that you could mix. It's the original formulation that you can do this. So if you don't want your paint layers to mix, then adding an isolation coat using either the binder medium or the fast medium fixer, some artists find that really helpful. And it really has a lot of different advantages. Now, some artists, when they paint their grisaille, afterwards like to get a touch dry, maybe seal it up, and then apply all their layers of glazes on top. I kind of like to use it as a way to save my work as I'm going. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. For example, in this area here, I had some trees, but what I did once they were done is that I applied a layer of the binder medium. I kind of saved my work. So now where I added just a little too much sky here, I can actually remove some layers of paint. And if you just want to hold my palette for a second,
definitely will.
I will show you what I mean. I've got some unlocking formula in this little bottle. Our unlocking formula is a medium that you can use to reopen your paint when water doesn't work. So I find that's generally after the first painting session of a few hours. And sometimes if on a really hot day, I might need to use it when water doesn't work. But as you can see, just by spraying and getting this paint back to its wet consistency, I'm actually able to remove some paint layers and kind of show this tree that I had underneath. So for mixed media techniques, for techniques like this, when I'm doing figure painting at the corners of the mouth or the corner of the eyes, I think it's a really, really neat technique to use.
And so this was completely dry to the touch when you did that?
Exactly. It's over a day old. This is a painting that I had started back in my room, and that's what I think. This paint just offers painters so many advantages. They can work wet on wet, and they can blend. Even down here, if I wanted to soften some of my edges, I know I was working on this just a little bit earlier today, so I can just use regular water and just kind of spray my paint, get it just enough so it's nice and slick, and either taking a nice brush, or I use my fingers a lot too, I can just actually blend and soften those edges and really get some nice transitions going. Again, things that have been denied to acrylic painters so much.
Well, how can I learn more about this product and learn more about workshops where this can be taught?
Sure. Our website is filled with information, and that's www.chromaonline.com. On our website, artists can go to our artist gallery. It's a global gallery, and see where artists around the world are using their paint. They can also click on our events tab and find out where there are workshops or classes being offered in an area near them. We have an artist forum called Paint Talk, where artists can upload their images, where they can post comments, and they can ask questions directly to Chroma. They can sign up for Chroma Link, which is our monthly e-newsletter, and they can get art tips just mailed to them, right to them, monthly. And once again, that website is www.chromaonline.com.
Jennifer, thanks so much for your time today and going over this product with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, it's great.
Appreciate getting working on my painting a little bit more.